Okay, I'm going to start a video where I show you how to assemble the IED toy train. Alright, I've started an assembly file. I'm going to come up to place. If it doesn't say place, hit the bottom part of the button. It's a drop down and you can change from whatever setting it was on. But we're going to go to place, and I'm going to bring in my train body. And the very first part you ever bring into an assembly should be grounded. To ground it, you right click and choose place grounded at origin. Alright, from there I'm going to go ahead and just bring in all my components. Kind of thinking through the order in which I'm going to assemble it to. So I need to bring in my wheel, which I need 4 of them. So I'll left click now to place, and I'm just going to put in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to need my axle peg. So I'm going to need 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. You may see that I have some of the extra parts. Part of that is because we 3D printed the train and we made some modifications for the sake of printing. We need the linkage arm. So we need 2 of those. Then the linkage arm is held in with the linkage peg. So we need 2 of those on each side, so 4 total. I need the cow catcher. I need the smokestack. And on the back of the train, I need the hitch magnet and the hitch peg. 1 of each. There's the magnet and the peg. You don't have to bring all of these pieces in like I did at once. But you can. So if you bring in too many things, then it can get messy, of course. But alright, so for the train, most of the things that we constrain, we're constraining with the insert tool. The insert tool is going to basically be like 2 mates at once. If you think about trying to mate maybe like this is the inside of the wheel, the flat side of the wheel, wanting to mate it to the side of the train so it stays flush with the side of the train, this insert tool is going to do that as long as I get the right 2 circles. So if I get this edge here on the outer surface, not like circle back in the hole, and that edge, those 2 circles become coplanar. But in addition to that, the insert constraint aligns the center lines. And so those have to stay lined up. So I'm going to choose that circle and that circle. I hit apply and close. I close the box to test it. And you can see that I can't slide the wheel along the face because the center lines are constrained. And I can't pull the wheel off of the face because of those circles being constrained. They become coplanar. So you could try to use a mate, but you're going to have to come back and use multiple mates to do this. So the insert tool is way better here. And just for the sake of speed, I want you also to see how I can hit apply and not close the box. I can move right on to the next constraint. So I can work through all of my wheels pretty quickly. So I'm getting the wheels constrained into the correct locations. And once they're in the correct spots, then I start doing the axle pegs. And the axle pegs will slide into those holes through the wheel, but they'll stop where the underside of the axle peg matches up the outside of the wheel. So I'm going to choose this outside edge of the wheel, and then I'm going to come get that axle peg, and I'm going to rotate around so I can see the underside of the head. And I want that circle to become coplanar with the outside of the wheel, or that one. Basically, that circle and that circle are both part of the same surface. Alright, I hit apply, and then I move on to the next one. Here. And I do have to keep rotating my view cube around. I can zoom in to make sure I can see apply. If you guys haven't figured out this trick, zooming in and out, if you put your cursor on what you want to focus in on when you scroll, that changes what you're zooming in and out on. Okay, so that's how I go through this fairly quickly. So I'm zooming in, making sure I can see what I want to select, zoom out, move my arrow, zoom in. I'm not having to mess with the panning tool. Alright, I'll apply that one. Zoom in on this axle peg, apply, there you go. Alright, now we're going to put the linkage arms on to these tabs that are sticking outside the wheel. The linkage arm should actually slide over this piece and then kind of mate with that surface. So I'm going to choose either the little circle or the big circle right here, and then the linkage arm circle right here, and apply. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this one to show you something else. Now that that first one is done, this thing, it rotates like a clock, but this face right here can't rotate around and face the train. It's always going to face out. So you have to think about that when you do the next insert. I can't choose this circle here on the outside and then the inside because it's not going to bend around. So I'm going to go insert. You can kind of play with that on these, but I'm just going to stick with what I've been showing. We're going to grab this right here, and I'm just going to rotate around so I can see the inside, the side of the linkage arm that's already facing the train. Apply my insert. And then let's go ahead and grab the other ones here. So I got that one. This one doesn't matter yet because it's not got the first one set. Once the first one's set, you got to think about this being the outside. And so I'm going to grab that, but I'm going to rotate now with my view cube so that I can see the side of the linkage arm that's facing the train, because that'll be my inside. Hit apply, close. Now the linkage pegs, these thinny little pegs, they slide into those holes, and the underside of the head is going to mate up right here with this surface. So I'm going to grab that circle and the underside of the head. Hit apply, and let's do the next one. Where's the other one? It's floating over here in space somewhere. Okay, let's go to the other side, or here, while I can see those, I'll grab that, rotate my view around, and grab one of those holes. Grab the next hole here, and find that last one. Apply. And let's see. Now I'm going to grab the smokestack. I'm going to get the bottom of the smokestack, and when I look at the hole for the smokestack, I want it to slide all the way in until the very bottom mates with that circle. Apply that. We'll save the cow catcher for last. The hitch magnet, I'm going to line, and then I'll put the peg through it to the hole in the back. Apply, and then the outside edge of the magnet is going to mate with the underside of the head of that magnet peg. Okay, and then the very last thing is the cow catcher. Now the cow catcher, there are these three holes here, and I'm going to choose one of them, and I got the top middle of those three. We'll look at the back side of the cow catcher, and there's the three tabs. Now I want the cow catcher to slide on such that the tab goes into the hole. So I want the base of the tab, the circle that's, flush here with the surface. That's the circle I want to choose to get it to insert all the way. I'll kind of zoom out enough so you can kind of see it move over there. I'm going to hit apply and close so you can see what happens with that one. It doesn't fully constrain. It can still rotate, just like the wheel. All right, so I want this thing to not be able to spin. So I'm going to tilt it down a little bit so I could see that the tab that would line up with this one, and we're going to constrain insert one more tab. So to that hole, I'll rotate around and get that peg. And once I've got two, it'll be locked. It won't be able to spin anymore. Okay. So I've got pretty much everything assembled. There's one last little detail I'm going to show. And if you grab the wheel and try to turn it, eventually this thing will get out of whack. Should do it where the linkage arm, there you go, right there. Okay, we'll get kind of at an angle. It'll be diagonal. And if you look at this, think of one wheel is driving forward while the other wheel is driving backwards. And we want to stop that from happening. We want to stop the linkage arm from becoming diagonal. We want it to stay horizontal. So there's another constraint here. It's an angle constraint. There's three different types. I'm going to choose the first one called the directed angle, and you can see the graphic shows two planes. We're going to define the angle between two planes. And I found this little horizontal strip here, or you could use the underside of the train too. But that little horizontal strip, it's flat, and the very top of the linkage arm, I want to constrain the angle between these two planes to stay at 0 degrees. Now you can change the angle, but we don't want that. I'm just showing you how it creates a constraint. We want it to be stuck at 0 degrees. And if it's stuck at 0 degrees, it doesn't mean that it won't move. It means that it has to stay parallel. Okay. And so now I can drive the wheel, and it's never going to go to that angle. So I will apply that to both sides of my train real quick, both linkage arms. Apply that, close it. I can drive that one. It'll stay horizontal. There you go. That is your train assembly. And next we're going to show you how to explode it, how to tweak all those components. Make sure you save your file and know where you're saving it, etc.